last night, we actually went down on KBNC, CN, what is it? KBCN TV. We went down and I jumped back onto our server to broadcast out and was like, you know what? I cannot broadcast out from our server to their server. And they were like, yeah, you can. Because that way you don't see James in the room. He was in the room because he was sitting there making sure our signal went out from Clubhouse into their server and then out to Roku. Now James can go out and enjoy his night with his wife and, get everything on and have everything, up and running. So cool. That's what's up. We are live and in charge. So let's get started.
Excuse me, Charlamagne, but this iPhone
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. We are talking about Black news tonight, and I appreciate you, Auntie, for letting me know that message. Black news. Our first story is Big Three certified as a Black-owned business. What's the Big Three? What is that? That is the Ice Cube platform for broadcasting his league, the Big Three. Why is this a big deal? Well, they're the first professional sports league to be certified by the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce as a Black-owned and operated business. There's some other leagues out there that, I think that's why his league is doing well. And I'm not going to name the other leagues that are not doing well, but I'm just saying.
Yes, not name the other leagues.
Nope, not talking about, not on this show. But Ice Cube recently co-founded the Contract with Black America Institute and struck a landmark partnership with the NFL to have the NFL invest and partner directly with Black-owned businesses. Over $125 million is committed, and the strategic partnership with the U.S. Black Chamber enables Big Three with a direct pipeline with the U.S. Black Chambers to Black businesses on every stage. And the national certification to Buy Black supports the league. And I'm not certified as a Black-owned business.
This is remarkable.
Oh my God. Shout out to Byron Allen. I gotta tell you, Byron Allen did something that was phenomenal. He made sure that last year in 2021, he did something called the Upfront for Black media companies to white advertisers. He did this through a television nonprofit, and he put on 2 days, 8 hours each day of videos and let people like Ice Cube, Big Three, Revolt, Ebony, Essence, Roland Martin Show, all these Black media companies, he let them pitch themselves to the national advertisers that wanted to advertise on Byron Allen's platforms of Weather Channel and Local Now. This was significant because up until that point, smaller media outlets like a Roland Martin Show or like HBCU Game Day Pass or Revolt or Big Three did not get access to the national advertisers. Then, and the one thing I want to say about that is that Ice Cube did a presentation. If you're looking for this video, it's on Vimeo. I think it's Vimeo.
Yeah, Vimeo.
And it's the Upfront Byron Allen 2021. Day one, that day one video, Ice Cube does a phenomenal presentation of why you should advertise on this platform. He's still Ice Cube, still deadpan, but he knew his numbers. He knew why you should advertise because they reach a certain demographic. He knew why people are continuing to watch. He knew the watch hours. He knew how many cities he touched with his platform, and he knew expansion-wise what was happening. The brother that owned HBCU Game Day Pass also did an excellent job. And then Revolt did an excellent job. So if you were the advertiser and you saw those videos, you would say, I get it. Revolt is using celebrities. HBCU Game Day Pass is using HBCU games, football games, to do their stuff. And Ice Cube's company is using retired basketball players who still have some spunk in them to get the crowds. And the crowds he showed and the numbers he showed show that they packed out stadiums whenever they did their big three. I'm saying all that to say that was last year. In 2022, Byron Allen did this again. What happened in 2022? Byron Allen said, you know what? These national advertisers are not advertising with all these companies I'm showing them. I'm going to sue. And to this day, he's got his lawsuit successfully. One, he's suing Nielsen Ratings, and two, he's suing McDonald's. And he's threatened to sue every single national advertiser in America if they do not advertise on Black media outlets. And he's particularly mad because they label his companies that he owns as Black media when, like he says, 70% of Weather Channel employees, staff, viewers are white. They're not a Black. He's like, that's not a Black media company just because I happen to own it. So same thing with Local Now. The reason why this is important, see what Ice Cube did? Very smart move. When Byron said, hey, come be a part of this, Ice Cube didn't say no. He said yes, he presented, he did all the things. And what did he do after that? He continued to build on top of what Byron gave him access to do. Then he goes and forms his own partnership with NFL, who he gets to, his contract with America again, and people laughed at it. But he said, I'm going to go out there and get this money and make sure that Black businesses get advertising. He did it. And make sure Black businesses get funding. He did it with the NFL. But you see what happens. An older, more affluent, more wiser person in the community, an elder, gives you their shoulder to stand on. Ice Cube stands on the shoulder. Not that he needed to, but it's easier. Ice Cube got on top of Byron's shoulders, and look at what happened.
Ooh, we got Black people working together in harmony. What a moment in our lives to see this happen. Could you imagine the conversation at the table? This is historical stuff. And we get to live in a time and see this in this skin color. What a miracle. Thank you for reporting this. I would never know.
And one thing that's interesting, in case anybody's in the room that wants to be certified as a Black-owned business, Amazon actually has a program. It's less than $25 to get certified as a Black-owned business. A lot of these other programs, they charge a lot of money for certification. There's also a free program that just was announced 2 weeks ago. I gotta do my research, and I'll make sure I bring that back next week. If you're interested in being certified as a minority-owned business or as a Black-owned business. But the important part of that is that it's not enough to just be certified. If you read what Ice Cube did, it's certification, then collaboration with the U.S. Chamber, the Black Chamber, then go out to NFL, get the funding. So when you go to these bigger corporations, they say, well, I get it, you're Ice Cube, I get it, you're in a lot of stadiums, but really, how are you going to reach Black businesses? They always come up with excuses, right? Now he's with the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce that I believe they say they have over 10,000 Black businesses, and they may say much more than that now. but I know it was at least 10,000. Oh, I see how you can get access to Black businesses, Ice Cube. Good idea. See, you got an MOU, agreement with them or a partnership deal with them. Great. Now we see that our money we give you, you can be a good steward of that money. And to me, that this is an excellent case study. Now, it's still got to work its way through. People have to apply, they have to get the grants and all that stuff, and that's going to be another process. But the collaborative process to get this thing signed, he went out there and said, "Hey, Black America, I'm going to make a contract with you." People laughed at that. They get out there and say, "Hey, I want to work with the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce." Why would you want to do that? Because they have thousands of Black men. Yeah, what are you going to do with them? Their members are complaining. Da da da. I'm going to go to NFL. Oh, why are you going to work with the NFL? The NFL is BS. They didn't support Colin Kaepernick. All those things can be true. At the same time that you have joy, you also can have grief. They both are valid at the exact same time. Neither one of them are invalid. And when you look at this blueprint, you see how this man moved, still in spite of, or still and did not stop. It's a phenomenal case study, I believe, in how to maneuver through this corporate landscape and capitalist society to bring on the bacon for the larger, greater good. Yeah, I got you, Phil. Phil says, "What if I get certified as a Black-owned Amazon Live influencer?" Just curious. There's no certification for that. You could get certified under Amazon's program and which is what I'm planning to do in a couple hours. Actually, I am an Amazon Live influencer, but I'm going to be certified. My company, Unidad Media Group, will be certified as a Black-owned business through Amazon's program. So if I did want to become an Amazon seller, which is I'm not, I'm an affiliate and I'm a live influencer. But I did want to become an Amazon seller. There's actually a program for Black Amazon sellers. And I can send you, Phil, give me an email address, back channel. I'll send you the information on being a part of that program. But that's when you're selling a product physically, your product is sitting in Amazon warehouses and they're distributing that product. So they don't really look at, certification on Amazon Live or the affiliates, but they do look at, and they have a separate program for Black business. Also, I'm glad you brought that up. There was announced this week. Thank you, Phil. I totally forgot about that. It's crazy because I got an email yesterday about it. Amazon has a new program they announced this week specifically for Black businesses, something totally new, to invest in Black businesses early. And I believe it's called Catalyst. Let me just make sure. Let's just try this other one. But I literally forgot that this announcement was made. And I want to make sure I get that information to the room. Yeah. So Amazon is investing $150 million in minority-owned businesses. And so this one, I love these headlines. I wish I could screenshot to show you these headlines. So every single headline says Amazon to invest $150 million in funds that provide funding to Black or minority-owned businesses. They do that. Amazon creates $150 million fund. And then this one from TechCrunch says, Amazon has 365 days to pour $150 million into diverse check writers. I love when everybody has the same headline, and then there's the one that is, basically challenging the other headlines. So thank you, Phil, for bringing that up. I'm going to put this headline from TechCrunch in the room. And it's really important because what VCs will say is they don't want to invest their money in our businesses. They don't want to lose their shirts, quote unquote. What you can now, through this fund, go to a VC and say, well, I heard that Amazon can Catalyst actually. Oh wow, we got a comment from LinkedIn. It says that William Buchanan said had the pleasure of being at call with Byron and the Black-owned media call in March. Yeah, thank you, William, for that great comment and for watching. But when you look at this article, Catalytic Capital is the fund. You can go to a VC and say, look, I know that Amazon is investing into companies that invest into Black businesses. So what's your problem now? So it's not your money you're playing around. Amazon's willing to give you money to invest in me. What's the problem now, VCs? It's going to be an interesting world based on this. And we'll see who actually steps up to the plate and actually wants to take the funding that Amazon has and distribute that funding to Black businesses. This will be really, really interesting to see who steps up to the plate. Let me just.
All I gotta say is King George Floyd, the assassination of King George Floyd. He working in. There's no way we have any conversation if that moment that had not happened in our lives. And it's moments like this that I have to bring it up. Oh, don't forget how we got to this point. Among all the rest that came before and after, it's a moment in time, and we supposed to worry as Black people. Never. Pass the mic.
Well, Auntie, let's unpack that a little bit. So let's, for the sake of argument, say that George Floyd, that didn't happen. And you're just basically saying that Amazon probably wouldn't have taken this step, right?
I am saying anything that feels like, wow, this is happening for Black people who built this country, who was overlooked for centuries. Wonder oh, something national, worldwide, shook the world. I have a girlfriend, her daughter is on a project right now called Ghost Rider. It was Emmy-winning show, and all the writers were white, and they told when that moment happened, and they saw that moment, and they looked at each other and said, we got to do something, and they wrote her part in immediately. And she's getting ready to be an advocate on this show because she's been bullied by Karen and she's 14. None of this, not at this level. They, unfortunately, America's first heroes, America's first crooks, that stole this land, didn't care, could care less what you felt, none of that. They didn't care. So the caring we see, this sudden understanding and willing to work together and maybe support. Yeah, I sincerely believe with this level of impact would never, ever have been happening. And many of us say, well, it's over with and it's gone. And it's really easy to forget. But Cheryl Rich will never forget, and I believe it to the core of my very existence. I am shocked that I'm hearing what you're telling me right now. I'll pass the mic.
Hey, Martin.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for allowing me to come on stage. I love the information you're sharing. Definitely this could, be a lifeline. This could help create a bunch of new businesses. I like the Big 3 information. I like, what Ice Cube is doing. I'm impressed with all of it. Definitely tip my hat to you, and I'll keep coming back to the room and checking it out. Hey, Cheryl, I implore you to listen to the replays after the room is over. I hate to say it, Cheryl, but
please please.
The way you speak, you sound almost like a caricature. It's like if they were to typecast, that Black Aunt Jemima type of character, that's exactly the way you speak. It just it's like you came out of a friggin', I don't know, this typecast situation. It's crazy to me. Like, I get what you're saying. You sound like one of those, Negro spirituals about to pop off, man. I'm so sorry.
No. Why would you be sorry? I want you to speak your truth. I want you to live in your truth. Because that's exactly what you hear. Me willing to be that caricature, that ancient magnet, that energy that everybody laughs at. So I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me know. And I'll keep being me and appreciate your feedback. Thank you. And I mean that from my heart.
I respect that, Cheryl. Thank you for taking it in that light. Thank you. I respect that.
If I'm lying, may God take the breath up out of my body. I love you for speaking your truth. Because that's what it's all about.
And I love you for not being sensitive, Cheryl. I really do.
No. Baby, let me tell you, last time I cared about what someone thought about Cheryl Rich, I had a syringe full of heroin in my veins. I didn't want to shoot dope. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted people to like me and be what they needed me to be. Those days are long gone. And Angel Mama, she was one of my favorites. So thank you. I mean that from the gut. And go to a show called The House on Fox Soul. Because the top of Fox was buzzing, saying, wow, she's like in that soap opera. So I take it all in. I don't believe that either. I'm just who I am, and I role model authenticity to bone. And I paid the dues. Finally, I'll wrap by saying, paid the cost to be the boss. Go play James Brown. I'm comfortable in my skin. And God bless you for coming up and speaking your truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Casey, welcome. How are things in DC, Sister Boyd?
Things are well. And Cheryl, I'm glad that you were able to receive that. I just feel that, Anthony, that was a bit unkind.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Sister, I love you so much. I so respect Anthony because, and the way he came, he wasn't arguing anything. What we have to understand is, I get this all the time. This ain't nothing. And I've had someone say to me, excuse me real quick, he said, sure, I know people have a problem with you. I said, what? They got a problem with you. I said, huh? They love you, they hate you, don't they? I started laughing. He said, you want to know why? I said, well, please, somebody tell me. No, I'm going to tell you. Because you've done what everybody in the world wants to do. I thought it was crazy. Kirk T. Jones is his name, director of the show. I said, excuse me? He got to be crazy. No, you've done what everybody in the world wanted to do. Everybody in the world just want to be who they are. But the problem with you, Cheryl Rich, is you perfected the SHIT. And you better believe I love anyone who can say, I can't stand up. What is it? It's courage. And it's free. It's authenticity that we're taught not to be. The only thing I won't do is waste time going back to listen to these recordings. I just love me. And anyone want me to change, I always say, pray for me. Please. But for now, I'm standing my truth. So my queen, I respect you. It may have sounded a bit brass, but you spoke his truth. And if anybody that's not comfortable in their skin, I come to make their skin crawl. Pastor Mike.
If you feel comfortable with that, I just disagree. But this is how you feel. I'm going to leave it alone.
Casey, man, I think that the world has gotten too serious. It's gotten too taking yourself too serious. There's not enough humor, not enough people speaking their mind without other people getting offended. It's okay to just communicate with one another, especially if you're respectful. I want to make a joke to you, but you seem really buttoned up, so I'll keep my mouth shut.
Excuse me.
You could have inboxed her dad and started her off in front of the entire world as a black female, and that's where I'm having a problem.
A black female? What's a black female have to do with it?
But here's the thing, that because Cheryl feels that she's comfortable with this, I'm gonna pull back. But I just don't agree.
Please back channel me, sister.
So I appreciate this discussion. I think that, you know, one of the things that I try to let the moderators do, and I say I try, I can't really try, I do, is let them speak their truths. And our audience is made up of, you know, a lot of different personalities, a lot of different opinions. I think that one of the things that we're able to do, hopefully in this room, more so than other places, is have a you know, to me, a respectful dialogue. I knew Cheryl was going to handle Anthony, in the sense that handle Anthony, meaning I've had many discussions, Anthony, with Cheryl for the past year and a half. And I was like, okay, Anthony, you might want to, you might, like, you open this door, bro. Like, I don't know. So you got.
Listen, man, Cheryl is the real deal. I love her. I love her spirit. I can't even complain. But Martin, keep it real. Your name is Martin. I want you to keep it real. Be honest. Does Casey's profile picture look like conjoined twins or not? All jokes aside.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, Anthony. And so here's the thing that I think we're getting to the place of, and Casey is a good friend of mine.
Oh, I was going to come in on that, baby.
Yeah, that was that. You know, for that, Anthony, you gotta go back down to the audience. No, Cheryl, let me be my truth. Let me be my truth
yes,
now.
sir, but I want to say to Anthony.
Yeah.
Hey, not only am I a clinical psychologist, my brother, I come from the streets. You may need a little help to learn to love yourself. And that's what I'm feeling. And I'm down to work with you on that.
Yeah.
You're a strong king, my brother. I
think that you know, we covered this in last week in Black Health, and it keeps coming up. I want to really take a moment to, and I don't know if Casey feels like coming back up, but I do want to talk about something that is consistent in our community. We are committing, you know, trigger warning, suicide at a higher rate than anybody else in this country, particularly our children aged 10 through 17. New York Times actually put an article up this week, and it said that Black children are committing suicide 3 times rate than other children. And so one of the things as we navigate this new world, and I say new because we lost, you know, I just talked to a brother today who's in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he did not know his frat brother had died. They did a wellness check on him and he was gone. And this brother is carrying the load of the community in Grand Rapids, helping the Black folks deal with their housing, cost of living, and all kind of things that's happening. And the pain that this brother would have if somebody made a joke that would seem like you could make this joke in 2019, but in 2022, according to CVS and the Black people who took this latest CVS survey of wellness, Black people are experiencing mental health trauma, according to their own words, at 11% more last year. We're in a different space than we were in 2019. And I think the comedians and the people that keep saying, oh, everybody should just, you know, be lighthearted and take, we're not there yet. Like, it's almost like you say, read the room, read the race. We are in pain. And some of us are not. I didn't say we all are in pain. But the pressure that a person like Casey Boyd deals with every day in the DC school system, and however, Casey, one thing I love about our people is that we used to allow people to show up however they wanted to show up. Nope, that's not the truth. But where we are today, we allow grace and space for people to show up, be whoever they want to be, however they want to be. But there's a contingency that wants to go back to how things were, where this wasn't right and this was. So my way to discuss information I could just say what I wanted to say. And then, you know, F your feelings. That's how I grew up. I grew up with a lot of people that said what they wanted to say and F my feelings, right? I think that not understanding the pressures that we all are under, whatever job you have, like Captain Strickland was coming to stage, she's military. She was deployed at January 6th. I can't imagine having to deal with, like, I watched yesterday's footage, and when Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and Mitch McConnell all trying to get some kind of military force to come rescue the Capitol, you see these police officers being kicked, stomped, sprayed, you know, and here's our sister being deployed to that very place and having to help gain control of that situation. And that in itself is trauma. But the fact that half the country doesn't think that that was anything, you know, that's a trauma too. It's a lot of stuff that's happening that I don't think especially comedians, are giving people a chance to deal with. And I get it. You know, I want to go back to being funny. Everybody was funny, ha. And it's like, yeah, life's not funny anymore. Life is a lot of things, and it ain't funny, you know, and I get it. It's a lot of people's jobs to make us laugh. You know what? Maybe it's time for us to cry. Maybe it's time for us to sigh. Maybe it's time for us to read more, be more introspective, and shut the F up. A lot of situations, let's let people be. Because we haven't had a grace or a moment of silence for any of these souls. Black souls were lost, are being lost, and our kids are reacting to it. And there's no way you can tell me that making a comment about somebody's picture as a joke is a joke anymore. Because guess what? That's the image they want to show up as. Let it be. You know, I get it. But to me, this is the time to give each other grace and space. And there's some things that when you step on, you know, personal boundaries, I think that's, I never advocate for violence unless it's to protect yourself or in response to you being, you know, targeted. That said, I think that we can't continue to put ourselves in situations where we feel unsafe at all. So, you know, Casey, thanks for coming up.
Casey, I just want to come in and say it means a lot. There are no words that you would even think about sharing your thought as far as what our young king had just said. My heart is huge for you for that moment. But I want to say these words. I was saved to have people look in the mirror. That's why God saved my life, to ask them if I was nasty, if I was rude, if I was none of that. He said I'm like a caricature, like an Aunt Jemima. These are the judgmental calls that we give for people who choose to be who they are. I may be able to take that information with me too and sit back and ponder. Maybe I should be less Aunt Jemima. Wonder what that means. Oh, that's the white man who put Aunt Jemima on the box. Oh, again, self-hatred. Why couldn't I be? You're like a evil Shirley Temple. It's like you're like Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, wicked. But why ain't you married? What was wrong with Amy? I mean, she smiled. She gave us pancakes.
You almost made me spit out my soda there, Auntie. I see you almost made me spit out my soda. I said, why can't I be an angry Shirley Temple?
Imagine, what was wrong with Shirley Temple? Or Joan Crawford was one of the most vicious in the game.
Yeah, she was vicious. She was vicious.
I'm gonna wrap by saying this. I must take the bullets. That's what the caricature I'm giving you now. Let me tell you what it is. It's passion. It's getting bullied when I was a kid. It's coming out of a mama that paid for an abortion and didn't want me. I got to take the heat so that I could and turn around and look at it and say, go to the mirror, my brother. It was cool when all he said about me was cool. But when he said, come on, Martin, come on. Her picture looked like, oh, baby, you hurting. I'm to bring love. And I want you to go to the mirror. Casey is beautiful. That picture is beautiful. Whatever she chooses to be beautiful. As long as you ain't hurt nobody. Do you from the core of your existence. Do you and anybody that finds it uncomfortable, as long as you being nice, they must go to the mirror and live with themselves. Because the final part is this: self-love shows. I'm honored for the moment. I pass the mic.
Well, it's interesting that you said that about self-love, because that's a very important trait that all of us should have. And when you have self-love, when different daggers are thrown at you, they don't stick. And I think it's really ironic that October is known as National Anti-Bullying Prevention Month, and this is something that I work with my students on, is how to deal with daggers that are thrown their direction and how you respond to it. I believe, and maybe everybody doesn't believe in what I believe, how I handle my business. If you have a problem or you want to correct someone, you pull them to the side and you have a private conversation instead of doing it in front of everyone. And even though, what is this gentleman's name? Anthony, he was saying, well, I wasn't going to say anything because it doesn't seem like you can take a joke, but then you still got it out. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We have to learn how to be kind to one another more than anything else in this world. Black people are hurting. They are hurting on so many different levels, and especially in our community. I don't get it why we think, oh, it's okay just to throw that joke out there, and then you flip it and say, oh, you can't take a joke, you're too serious and everything. Well, you know what? I can take a joke, but you don't know me from Adam. And a person that can vouch for me and jokes is Martin. You've heard me and Richard Ashby go back and forth. We can really, really have a good time with that. But anyway, the point is that I think we have to, I know how important it is that being kind to one another and to being kind to your brethren, my brother, my sister, that shares my same color skin. That's the most important thing. And this is a trick. This is a skill. This is a love that I share and teach to my students every day. And I hope that many adults can learn from the students. I close my mic.
Allow me to say, a person that means good, that may say something that could hurt someone's feelings or make them look small, that's what they're going to do. A person that's not hurting, if you love, you can't help but love. So he would have reached out to me directly and said, hey, could you calm down some? Maybe you make me a little uncomfortable. At the end of this, Martin says, stay black. And I do stuff like, yeah, stay black. And then I was thinking, okay, Cheryl, maybe you could stop doing that every time. Do it every other time. You know what I'm saying? Because I know people be like, is she crazy?
But Cheryl, honey,
that's fair.
That would just make you, that would just be you stepping back from your life. And like you said, you don't come too far for that.
Well, listen, here's the thing. Martin's room, and I'm here to say, and y'all heard Martin. He said, Anthony, I've been talking to this woman for about a year and a half. I'm going to say this. I've had him, Doug DeLuca of the Jimmy Kimmel Show. I've had a couple say, and the director, Martin was one of the first. I'm going to tell you, it's like you put a lot of weight on the ex-con stuff. I mean, it's kind of like you don't put this much weight on your education, your master's in clinical psychology. And I started laughing. I said, I told Doug DeLuca, I forget. I got to put more weight on that master's in clinical psychology that I got from the man that had been in college, but he didn't go to college. Forget that degree I got from the streets that got me through.
But I think, Cheryl, that's part of the problem, though. I think, especially with first of all, let's say, hey, Martin.
Hey, what's up?
See you in a minute. Talk in a minute.
It's okay, Erica. It's okay.
It's real black news right here. I love it. Go, sister. Go, sister.
No, I haven't spoken to him in a minute. I was like, oh my God, Martin's on, let me talk. So I think that's part of the problem, that people feel that, I'm not going to say whitewashing for lack of better words, but I think it's because there's like a cultural assimilation that Black people have, undergone in so many different ways and in so many different facets of identity, that when people show up in different ways or in stereotypical ways, it's frowned upon. And it shouldn't necessarily be that. It really should be, okay, this is how that person shows up because that's who they are. And I being in New York, I deal with characters every day, all kinds of characters. But and you respect, you learn. You don't know what character you're dealing with until you have a conversation with them. But everybody deserves respect, no matter how they show up. But I want to talk about the things that Martin said about suicides and people like it being a very sensitive time and suicide rates going up in our community. And it makes a lot of sense. And I've been having these conversations with a lot of people at work. We have lost our sense of priorities. It's just that simple. People are living in a generation where people have prioritized the way things look, and their children have become like, I'm not saying all, and this is very, very general, don't get me wrong, but it's come to a state of being where people have given their kids so much of what they thought they wanted when they were growing up, that they forgot to pass on what they had, which is work ethic, which is values, which is valuing people and family and community service and all that good stuff that was the base of a lot of Black communities. Now you got kids on the gram. Just today in the Bronx, where I work, 15-year-old shoot up some kids because he did a diss rap on IG, and he ain't a kid dead. Yes, kid has like 15 priors. Where's mommy? Mommy's gonna show up. Like it's a really sad situation. And adults, you look at these kids with these guns and these IG and then just.
Hey, Erica, you're in the Matrix.
It's a huge crack out, and you can't help them because the parents ain't no kind of better off, and that's the facts. Okay, I'm done now for now. Thank you, sister. Jesus.
Brother Phil, thank you, Erica. Brother Phil, I know you wanted to get in.
Hey, Martin, good to be in the room with you, man. I think my first time up on your stage. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Cheryl, and been coming in the room a little bit, trying to get the feel and the flavor of it. But the nightly Black news and Black biz news, this touches the heart, and I love how you deliver it. And I love how you deliver it, Cheryl, and you all bring it in a real way. Because for someone like myself, who's been 40 years in the industry, that means I've trailblazed. I'm at a height of a height, right? But 17 years, the last 17 years of that has been as an entrepreneur, business owner of a tech service company in that industry. Now, for those that may not understand, this is not a side hustle. This puts food on the family. This is 17 years of real business that has to make the ends meet. 17 years as a Black certified minority business and all sorts of certifications. So Martin, when you bring in nightly, I think every time I've come in your room, you've given us jewels and gems and tips. Your moderators and folks on the stage to help us continue to survive, to level up. But there's mental illness also that might come into play for those business owners that are just not doing the side hustle, but they're doing the thing of providing for families, not only theirs but others. And then you talk about, Cheryl, the George Floyd And it created a tsunami of a wave for folks wanting to be other folks' friends and trying to come through and make good on some things, right? But
You just made me cry.
but
My brother, would you say a tsunami of a what?
tsunami. I say tsunami, I'm talking about waves here
I
because
know.
17 years running around with minority business supplier diversity circles, having offers on the table and pulled back, you're running blueprints for weeks, bidding on jobs that you get the okie doke pulled on you.
My brother.
This is the real life of a full-time entrepreneur that operates in those circles. But yet even tonight, I must be pleased with my brother Martin putting this pin post above that there is yet another opportunity as somebody who wants to come to the Dave Boy Do Good and the savviness of 17 years, and I try to impart that on the ones that are just 1 year, 6 months into the game, that this is where you need to look at on these opportunities and see if it's for you. But everything for us, oftentimes as minority business owners, moves at different speeds and different paces and different rules, and it's stressful. It can be. But when we surround ourselves with each other, our community, and we lift each other up, and we give each other love and encouragement, Cheryl and Casey, that's how we survive. I met Martin. I think Martin somehow ended up in your room because Roz came in here and Monty in here. And I came on the Clubhouse and I came into Amazon and Amazon Live a year and a half, 2 years ago through Monty and Chris Judge. And then Roz and I did some collabs and things together. So when good people follow in, I follow in with them. And then finding out that Martin, you one of us over on the Amazon thing, doing your thing. We all got to help each other. We got to love each other because nobody else is going to do it for us. And as soon as you think that wave is riding high, you better watch out because the companies will turn on a dime with their DEI, supplier diversity, and any other initiatives when they feel that they don't need to do it anymore. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for letting me speak, Martin. I'm going to sit down for a moment.
Thank you, Brother Hill. Appreciate you. Definitely need to have you up here on Black Tech Night. I didn't realize. I read your profile. You know what? I didn't read your profile. So I appreciate you for coming through and expressing your truth and the frustration, that is very real in these programs. Auntie likes to say stuff that is very appreciative, and it's the balance. I'm sort of in the same space as you, side-eyeing programs because I know, the flex for the company is a press release. The flex isn't KPIs, which stands for key performance indicators. That's not a flex. I think that Target is starting to flex a little bit. Hey, look, we had 3 of Black companies come through our accelerator, and we have 36 or whatever it is, maybe 50 Black products on our shelves. But even with Target's success of Black, they still haven't really flexed. They still haven't put out a white paper that says, this is how Black businesses are doing that are in Target. It's quiet. It's quiet. Why is it quiet? Because honestly, for me, it's always a mixed bag. Life is not all success, all failure. It's a little of this and a lot of that. Sometimes a lot of that, a little of this. But to your point, I am probably more cynical than I maybe need to be in general. Not so much in this room, but I align myself where you're at because I've had many, even myself. I talked about it earlier in Indigo's room with Melissa for their fundraiser. I had a $500,000 deal on the table with Facebook, and they pulled the deal. But they used my information, thank God, and funded directly, not through me and through my whole program, but gave Black newspapers $50,000 and $100,000 in grants. And my program that they came to me and said, hey, what can we do? I didn't go to them and say, and I won't say strung me along, because I went through all the hoops. We were in the last stage of a contract. So the contract I signed, they gave it back to their legal department. I'll never forget the email I got and where I was at February 2020, when the email I got said, hey, Mark has decided to go a different route. I never met Mr. Zuckerberg. I never talked to anybody in his department. I'm like, what do you mean Mark decided? like I'm talking to the head of Facebook Journalism Project, who's a journalist herself. I'm talking to her. I never talked to her. I'm talking to the person that she assigned to work with Black media companies. So $500,000, you make plans. You know what you're going to do. I'm going to break everybody off 10 here, 20 with this. And it was only 10 different newspapers I was going to work with. And to your point, diversity initiative. What has Facebook done with this diversity initiative now? They pulled all the funding completely out of that program and put it into the creator program. So the Facebook Journalism Project has been defunded. But my point to you is, I align with what you're saying, bro. I appreciate what your comments. I definitely love having you in the room. Thank you for coming in. And we definitely need to work together more intentionally with this Amazon initiative. And I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, sir.
Welcome, Brother Charlemagne. We needed you, and you weren't here. We needed security. And Charlemagne.
Oh man, I'm sorry, man.
Charlemagne, you would have loved it. Our King Anthony, our brother, came up on stage. He's probably been in the room many times, and he couldn't take it more. And he came in, said I was a caricature, like Aunt Jemima. I mean, he unloaded. And I was like, okay, I want everyone in the room, anybody that gets a dose of Shirley, get too much, y'all call me and then go off on me. Please pour out anything on top of me, because I promise you, I will handle it with love. That's like,
yeah, it was interesting. And this is the thing we talked about last week, right? We talked about situations that, so we're broadcasting live through StreamYard, and a comment that I got this morning, sorry, on one of the videos that we broadcast was that, yes, let's do a room. Somebody who has a huge club. You're right, Martin. Nobody's done anything on app Clubhouse about Black boy suicide. I'm sorry, trigger warning. And so she was like, I want to work with you. So Monday we're going to do this big room with a lot of different names to talk about, to really publicize that our boys and girls, but the number that we're speaking of right this second. Anywho, my point is just to say that we're under a lot of stress, and I get the comedy thing, not about Anthony's comedy. I'm just saying in general, I'm kind of frustrated with the disingenuous and almost gaslighting that the comedian world is doing to people right now. Like, yo, just lighten up, man. Just be, we trying to laugh. To be honest with you,
y'all saw me take it with a smile. Seriously, I love the fact he gave me a cigar.
Yeah, but Cheryl, this ain't about you though. But Cheryl, this part is not.
Said, come on, Martin, tell the truth. I went to say something about KC. Now you were getting ready to get a whole nother caricature and the Aunt Jemima that carried all kinds of weapons. For real, I don't play with nobody trying to down nobody. Down me is okay, but you don't down nobody. What's your original? I'll pass.
Well, that's how I felt. I couldn't sit up here and let him talk about another Black female.
He was talking about.
I was talking, he even interrupted and said,
"Yeah,
but where's Black female there too with this?" I'm like, okay, is totally lost. It's like, I was like, Casey, please just pull back. It's no sense in putting any energy into this because he's kind of out there. But, just have to let people be them. But you can't be rude and unkind. That's what my thing is. And that was rude and unkind.
That's why Martin let him go. Here go Martin. Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been working with her for about a year and a half. He basically said, she's a lost cause. I've done everything I could. Good luck. I never passed the mic.
That's interesting you take it that way, but no, I think in general that
I love it, baby.
no, but that's not what I said, Auntie Cheryl. So like what I was saying was that he thought that this was a revelation. And it's like I actually been.
I agree.
Right,
it's serious.
Right.
You don't mean that.
No, he thought that it was. He thought he was revealing something that was unknown to us, and in a sense that he did. This is the thing about Clubhouse. Unlike any other platform, that at least in my opinion, and we're getting away from the Black business news. So there's a headline above. Anybody wants to know, Amazon has 150 million for y'all. So go ahead and click on the article. Click on the article. So anybody's in the room now, Amazon has 150 million. Share it with your family and friends. I'm going to put up another link while we have this great discussion that talks about $18,000 grant available today until November 1st with Fiverr. So I'm going to put that link up, and hopefully, somebody, your family, friends, can apply for this $18,000 grant. It's specifically for Black businesses. It's the second year that Fiverr is doing this. Please apply. Now, this dude really thought, and people do think that we can't hear what Cheryl does. Like people actually, and this is it's mansplaining, but it's also it's what Karens do. It's a lot of like, and I feel like it's emotionally unintelligent people. So this is a link that you see in the above us is the $18,000 grant. Pass it around family and friends. Let them know $18,000 for Black business, no strings attached. Apply. So the thing that these people do, and it's sort of like with the Candace Owens thing, and it's just they think that they're telling us something new. Like, Black people, like, yeah, we know, bro, we know. And she's happy with that. That's the thing about being a nerd. That gives us a certain amount of freedom. Being a nerd says, I know I don't fit.
True.
I like what our brother Johnny said, if the glove doesn't fit, you have to acquit.
You must acquit.
You must. If the Black nerd pisses you off, leave. Don't stay in a room with the Black nerd who's bumbling and I'm just, don't stay, leave. Don't let it trigger you. This is not an app where you gotta stay. But he stayed. And as you said, I knew when he opened his mouth and he mentioned the word Cheryl, I knew he messed up. Because this one, wait, Cheryl, you said how I felt. So I'm just gonna correct you for everybody. I don't feel that way. That's not at all what I was expressing. What I was expressing to him was really in a nice way. You done effed up. You picked the wrong one. That's what I was saying. Because I know who you are. I know what you stand for. And so, well, sure, I need you to hear this. Sure, I need you to.
I really admired how you handled that. Because I was like, Lord, oh, he lucky he got you.
Listen. Everything happens for a reason.
I just wish more people would do what he did versus go really try to harm somebody. And I know when people are crying out, I understand when they really are not happy with self. And
but he doesn't realize that, Cheryl.
He does.
He's enlightening you to yourself.
Yes.
And you were trying to re-enlighten him, and it didn't click.
No. And it's okay because maybe he'll
Well, but I would say this, Erica, and I gotta give Erica props. Erica hasn't just for Erica being we're in a class together, and we got our fellowships together, and we struggled through this. Well, I didn't struggle. She didn't struggle. I made it struggle. Yeah.
That's a whole other story.
Miss Erica is a fellow journalist, a real journalist in these streets of New York. And we both got our fellowships from Solution Journalism. So the reason why you hear what I do comes solution type of news is because I came through a program specifically targeting the solutions of news versus just talking to the news. And Erica was my fellow student.
Yeah, and you know, it's Martin, we haven't spoken in a long time, but it just every day now, the purpose is just
clearer and clearer and clearer.
It's just more and more relevant.
Well, let me tell you, Erica, I'm having a battle with not the solution part, but I'm having a battle with some of the old heads who believe what we do here tonight is not news. So yeah, it's interesting.
How is it any different from any of the commentators happening on CNN and Fox?
Listen,
Who people watch as news.
Listen, I get it, and I'm here to let them be them, and I'm gonna be over on the other side. She's like, you call this black news, but you're not breaking anything. You're not telling a story. You're repeating what other journalists, and I give everybody attribute. Are you mad that I don't give them attribution? No, I'm just saying it's not. It's more like your commentary. You're doing a talk show. I said, and I call my talk show Your Black News, and it pissed her off. So I have been branded through our former industry untouchable. So I can never apply for. Yes, I have. Listen, I have. I'm good. I'm good with it. You have.
Wow.
I'm good. I'm so good because I'm here to let regular people, citizens, tell their truth about how they feel about stories and headlines, and make sure, like we talked last year about the teacher crisis. Before the teacher crisis, we talked about the shipping lines. We alerted people to. I'm here for the alerts. I'm here for informing and empowering. But Erica, I'll tell you, I cannot show my face at any quote unquote legitimate news event and be taken seriously according to her because I'm not doing the news.
Well, Martin, look, first of all, you know, one person is one person. Right?
I don't know. She sits on top of. She's over it. She sits on a lot of money in our industry, and she's on top. She's the go-to black person in our industry, the only one. Like this is where
you see that, and you see that's where we go wrong. That's such a crab in the barrel mentality when people, black leaders, get up there and they forget. Like I think people hit 6 figures and they get amnesia. Like,
well, I think that one of the things that what you're doing. And the places you've worked at that have been doing non-traditional or news in a different way. I think it not only say it scares, but it makes the powers that be uncomfortable because they can't control it, right?
Martin, when I tell you I'm gonna get it because too many people that you know what it is that makes them uncomfortable? The idea that an alternative method and an alternative way of doing things can be more profitable than how they're currently doing things.
Amen.
Because that means I would have to change. And I'm already making money. Why to change?
Right.
I don't want to change.
Right.
I want to be how I am, and I want this money to come in the same way I've always done things over and over and over again. But you see, this is why YouTube and all these platforms are so successful.
Exactly.
They're struggling to maintain audience, and they're struggling to maintain viewership and justify all that ad money that they're getting.
Right.
It's gonna be about the new.
So One day I want to do a room, not anytime soon, maybe in 2023, where we talk about what is journalism and what's wrong with Black media, because I think that the audience has no idea these conversations are being happening. But also, to be honest, there's no retirement fund for a Black journalist. There's no 401k. There's no. It's the same as Black musicians. You're a writer. You struggle. You work at these Black newspapers or these Black outlets that have zero retirement fund. So you're on Social Security, right? You die. Not listen. Not just you died, but I had a good mind died, and the newspaper she worked at never did a story on her life.
Stop, Martin.
I'm like, she has no. They did the obit, but it was so small. When I was texting her thinking she was still alive. No one had told me. Her family, all her family are her age in their mid to late 70s, and they're not on social media. So I'm texting her. I'm not getting a response on her text. And it was 2 months, and it was getting ready to leave Philadelphia. We're living down in Louisiana right now. And we moved down to let the baby get close to her grandparents. And so before I left, I wanted her to see, the child that she poured into while she was alive. And I'm thinking she's still alive. Turns out she died in January. I'm texting her in May and April, and no one's telling me. But then when I went to her Facebook page, there wasn't any reference, and there was a little tiny link. And I clicked on a link, and it went to the online. So this is a newspaper. They didn't do a print story. They did an online story about the loss of her and what it would mean to the news paper. Like, not right. And I'm like, yeah, but listen, but
that's so typical.
But exactly, and listen, the Black family that owns the paper, the Black family that owns the paper, the father gave the paper to the kids. The kids didn't want the paper, so the paper isn't even part of the actual ownership, and that's how they run their stuff. Which is like shrugs, and I'm gonna run it as cheaply as possible. And it's a stalwart paper in Philadelphia. It's a regular Sunday physical paper that this sister worked at for over 20 years, and they ain't done a damn. Her best friend told me that she went to the owner and said, "Listen, I want to do a memorial service for her, and it's going to be $1,000." They're like, "Well, can't you do it cheaper than that?" And so,
You surprised though? That ain't no surprise.
it's like, so when we talk about Black media and news and why Black people aren't getting this and that, we got to have a room.
Martin,
You and I.
Are you going to the Lions Publishing Conference?
Oh, hell no.
What? I'm going.
Listen, the person I'm talking to is on the board of Lions and has tried to get me to join that board.
Why you don't want to go?
Because I don't support no space that believes that journalism should be only taught or spoken a certain way, and anybody else can kiss rocks.
I guess I need to do more reading that because I haven't gotten that impression.
No. I need you to go. I need you to go and flourish. I need you to go sign up for their lab. They have money for you. Listen, the real deal is the people that come into this room and the people that I touch and empower and the people that we plan on empowering are not the people in Lion. They're not the people in ONA, are not the people in the National, what's it called? National Association of Black Journalists. Those are not the people, So I need people like you to flourish, right? Then I can come along and buoy you and push your stories up. So you go through the regular channels, you do what you do because you already have the pedigree. I never went to college for journalism. I got into this because I was in radio and someone said, "Hey, you sound good. You should have a radio show." And I was like, you know what? I should. And I went and pitched to 100 stations and got turned down by 99. So I didn't have the normal route to media, quote unquote, or journalism. And so I need real, we'll say real journalists who are Black and grounded like you to stay in the industry and pull down all these funds that they have. And then I can say, why aren't you supporting Erica? There's a Black woman in New York who lived through COVID who can tell the stories on the streets, and y'all don't have one grant for her?
Yo, I just finished reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The mindset is completely different.
All right, well, that's what's up. I got stuff for that. So Erica, I'm gonna send you another book tonight called Automatic Sales. It's a small book. It's gonna take you about maybe 3 hours to read. It's from a guy named John Warlow, and it talks about creating automatic membership, subscription, all that stuff. I want you to read this. And then there's I think I already gave you, but I don't know if you ever filled it out, the business canvas model. Did I ever send you that business canvas model? It's a blank.
Not familiar.
Okay. So it's a 4 columns, 4 boxes on top, 4 boxes on the bottom. So eight boxes. When you do go to LinFest or you go to whoever, or even a Pointer or whoever you go to and say they got this grant, and or one of the Kellogg School for Journalism, or one of these schools that has this grant, or even Snapchat. Snap has a grant for Black journalists. When you go and freelance, you're going to use this Canvas model. The paragraphs you fill out in the boxes, you're going to take those boxes and make it part of your proposal. It is symbiotic to where the mindset in the funding world is at, because they're funding journalism like they're startups, which is stupid. But I need you to have the tools to be able to go in, get under there what they're getting, and then if you don't get it, if you get turned down 4 or 5 times, then a person like me can come in and say, "What the F?" And I have nothing to lose to say that.
Frank. Yo, all about tact, huh?
And timing and reality. This is where the news is at. But for those of you still in the room, check out Future Collective. For those watching me online, Future Collective is the I'll put the link in the chat on these platforms that we're on. Come back in about 10 minutes. The link is there. It's Fiverr. Fiverr has $18,000 to give to Black businesses. So, and that's including you, Erica. Fill out, Fiverr's $18,000 grant. And also, Erica, how many followers do you have on any? Is there the amount of followers on any platform? Are they over 2,500?
No. Okay, so I don't want to take over this chat, but if you want to talk to me about that, like,
No, that's good.
like, okay. So like I'm young, but I'm old inside. I'm very old, very. And I think when all those platforms started launching, it's like, I was on campus when Facebook launched, and when Facebook launched, it was a cool thing. Oh, you use it to talk to your friends. I'm on this side of campus. Yo, let's meet up. Oh, I posted this. When they started using platforms to determine whether or not you're gonna get a job, that's how the whole thing done change. So I'm very, my platforms don't exist for anything outside of business. It's just that simple. And I haven't really clarified what I want my businesses and my brand to be focused on.
Got it.
So it's not really, rambunctious for
Yep.
But I do SEO and social for businesses. That's a little bit, easier for me because it's not about me.
Right.
It's about service.
Right. The reason why I asked is that I
have to give you context.
Yeah, I got you. I need you to become an Amazon influencer. It's free. It's a quick application. It's 5 minutes to 10-minute application. But we need to get you 2,500 on any platform. So 2,500 on Facebook, 2,500 on Twitter, 2,500 on Instagram, and then you'll roll into that program. And what happens is, this is particularly because you're a videographer and you understand how to shoot videos. What's happening is every platform is looking at how do we monetize our own platform, and they believe they found a solution, which a lot of us believe is false, but we're going to play this game with them. Hey, you're a content creator. We can fund you, and you can be sustainable. I don't mind giving you this upfront money if you are actually producing content for our sales part of our platform. So TikTok is starting something called TikTok Shop. Instagram is doing something on, shop on Instagram. Amazon has Amazon influencers. And it doesn't cost to be a part of the program. You need to shoot 3 videos of 3 products, and they approve the 3 videos. You need to sell 1 thing in 90 days, and you're still on that platform. But here's the real key why I want you to do this, is that every company in America and overseas, you totally different when you say, I am an Amazon influencer. They immediately send you product. And you do so much with cameras and video and all that stuff. The guy I'm going to turn you on to that Phil was talking about, Monty has a group on Facebook that's free called Amazon Live Creators. And Monty has a beautiful YouTube channel that has over 250 videos. Monty lives a 6-figure life doing what you do, but just basically reviewing cameras and batteries. He's able to take care of his wife, take care of his newborn, and still do what he wants to do by doing reviews. All these companies, because he has, and you'll see, as soon as you see his video channel, you'll get it like that because you understand.
I already understand it. He developed a niche based on something that he already does naturally.
Exactly.
And monetized it.
Exactly. And so none of these news outlets want to tell the truth about how private equity is really effing up journalism. So if private equity can come in and buy these legacy newspapers, we can go over to Amazon, become Amazon influencers, and leverage that for our livelihood and our retirement fund.
Very cool.
Got it.
Thank you.
Of course, sis. I miss you. Definitely sending an email tonight, a bunch of emails, and I'll wait for your response.
This was powerful, guys. All right. I love it.
Well, one of the things that I love about having your own club, which Casey does with her club, is you run it the way you want to run it. And when you see a friend in need or a friend in Indeed, then you get to do what you want to do in your space.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When Anthony came back in the room, if he ever comes back, please invite him again. This was a wonderful night.
Auntie, we agree to disagree. Yeah, Anthony won't be back.
But I hope so.
No, he's not gonna be back. I'm not. No, I can't.
We want to be here for the ones that need to pour.
I don't. I really don't. You do. And listen. If he comes in, I'm not hate, but I'm saying if somebody else, if that energy shows up, that's why I didn't say anything. I knew you got it. But
if he ever comes back in, though, I would love to let him know that I'm open for to him to come back up and
I'm not good.
As when we role model, if it's just for a quick moment, eventually we pray that things sink, and there come a time. I always say, you would not stop and argue with a light post. So
exactly.
There comes a times where you have to look at people as their light posts.
But I will say this: the thing I look at Your Black News and any room I'm in really on this app is that people are listening, and you're at a unique vulnerability when you're hearing something, because it's like it's hitting your brain different than you watch it. And watch it, your eyes blink, and you can kind of miss something, right? But when you're hearing it, there isn't a gap unless the person's phone messes up in the hearing, and so it hits you powerfully and different. And I believe that I have a response. The famous line being a blurred, famous line from Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. And it's one thing to do it to me once.
Say that again.
It's one thing to disrespect Black women once. It's a whole nother thing if I know that this person has an angle of disrespecting women, and I let them come in and do it again. That's a whole nother thing. So
again,
that's enough for me. One time is enough for me.
But my heart bleeds for those who want to tear down somebody. And if we can have 3 seconds with a person that don't, really want to attack versus empower, because like I said, all feedback, one's thoughts as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to me and my personality, I'm always open. but I never know what I can pick up. But then again, by the time he said that, the other statement about KC and I knew it was pain with me, but definitely pain. So, we want those couple seconds to just say, hey, we love you. Just the way you are.
Cheryl, you so bomb.
Oh.
You really are, because that I don't got that in me yet.
I love
No, and you know what it is, Cheryl? Like, you handled that with so much love, and he was kind of like in the sun. And I'm not trying to attack him or anything like that. He thought he had really good intentions, but his he didn't realize how ignorant what he was saying and how it was coming off. And more importantly, like, he kind of was like in the sunken place. I was like,
yes, if he really had good intentions. That's why I tell everyone, forget the master's in clinical psychology I got. That PhD I got from the streets. And I'm not talking player haters degree. Now you combine the two, I tell people I'm not a force of nature, I'm a freak of nature. I didn't get here by chance. So let me say this. I can smell insecurity. You can't hide insecurity. Mm-hmm. You'll try it, but you can't hide it.